Hey all, welcome back. Time to take a look at some new upcoming games once again. While January is notoriously a slow month for new releases, we're not without here. There's at least a few things worth keeping an eye on, assuming you, like me, aren't still just hopelessly addicted to PoE 2. I'm over 200 hours now, by the way. It's sure something. Anyway, what new games are coming out? New games in January 2025. Let's take a look. So kicking things off, we've got Hyper Light Breaker. Now, if that name sounds vaguely familiar, that's because this is the sequel to Hyper Light Drifter, although as you may have noticed, the game has quite a different look this time around. Shifting from the previously super zoomed out top-down perspective of the first title, this one is now a full-on third-person 3D action combat game. Okay, now what else? Well, it features an ever-changing expansive world in which you've got mysteries to solve, enemies to fight, and many fully 3D environments to discover and explore, with countless vast, large-scale open biomes and deep labyrinths, all procedurally generated with unique layouts, enemies, loot, and rewards each and every time you play. Traversal offers a ton of freedom as well, with a few abilities like wall dashing, a hoverboard, and even a glider. You will be playing as one of the breakers, battling through the overgrowth either alone or as a team with online co-op. You'll face hordes of enemies and large bosses in frenetic third-person combat, with the game offering increasingly difficult challenges stacking up through each and every run. There's also progression systems as you discover and unlock a wide arsenal of weapons, items, and upgrades to create your own builds. As you play, you'll learn more about the overgrowth from the fragmented memories of its mysteries, defenders, and the crowns, and you'll bring back resources to help the settlement you have flourish over the course of your journey. I'm pretty keen on this one, honestly. Both prior games from this developer were pretty niche but well received, those being the original Hyper Light game Drifter, as well as their most recent title Solar Ash. They were small games, they don't have a ton of reviews, but the people who have played these games do seem to like them. We'll see how this one turns out. I'll give it a shot. Hyper Light Breaker releases on January 14th. Our next game is a bit of a blast from the past here. I'm talking about Dynasty Warriors Origins. This is the first new addition into the series in 7 years, and it aims to be, well, a bit of a return to form, harkening back to the roots of the franchise. Combat will feature the expected over-the-top hacking and slashing through massive hordes of enemies, and I mean massive hordes, with their stated goal being able to support up to 10,000 enemies on screen at a single time, which if you think that sounds ridiculous, it's because it does, but we'll see how it plays. You've got a variety of moves at your disposal. Of course, there's like light attack combos, you got block breaking strong attacks, counters, and evades. You'll break enemy defenses by targeting weak points and activating big finishers as a result, all while filling up what is essentially an ultimate meter, which once full unleashes screen clearing attacks. There's a variety of weapons from swords and spears to gauntlets and crescent blades. As you use your weapon of choice, you'll level them up through the ranks, making them stronger. You got horses for travel and can even make use of companions, which you'll switch to during battle for a limited time. These will come with their own unique powers and attacks. And then while engaged in all of this crazy over-the-top action, you'll be traversing through the game's world, which is said to vividly represent the three kingdoms, where large-scale historical battles, missions, and skirmishes all take place, all there for you to partake in. Dynasty Warriors Origins will be releasing on January 16th. There's also a demo currently available if you want to check out the game before it actually launches. Interestingly enough, this January, we've actually got two fairly big PlayStation games finally making their way over to PC. First, there is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the second in their planned trilogy of games remaking the 1997 original. This one begins after the events of 2020's FF7 remake, following the party's escape from the metropolis of Midgar, leading them out into the open world. So Rebirth builds on the hybrid action-focused melee combat and active time battle systems introduced in the first remake. This has players assuming control of a party composed of characters that can be freely switched between at any point. During combat, characters use a mix of conventional physical attacks, casting magic, as well as consumables. There's also a new synergy system integrated into combat, enabling party members to sync up their attacks for power at the expense of speed. Now, as with the original Final Fantasy VII, besides going through the game's narrative and partaking in combat, there are many mini-games for you to engage with. There's a full-on card game called Queen's Blood, Chochobo training and customization, there's G-Bike Fighting Simulator, Boxing Simulator remade from the original, and a bunch bunch of other games. Of course, the PC version will feature its own graphical customization with 3 default presets available, as well as fine-tuning that you can use, and the game will support frame rates of up to 120 FPS, they say, for high-spec PCs, but at the same time, they have mentioned working on optimizations to try to make sure the game plays well even on a Steam Deck. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is coming to PC via Steam on January 23rd. And the other PlayStation game coming to PC this month is Spider-Man 2, set 10 months after the events of the 2020 Spider-Man game. This one features a large ensemble cast of characters, all from the history of Spider-Man comics. You've got a main story campaign that's set to run about 12 to 15-ish hours, and then outside of that, there's plenty of side missions and collectibles dispersed through the game's open world sandbox. Huge map to explore. They've created the largest take on Marvel's New York ever, featuring 2 new boroughs with Brooklyn and Queens, as well as locations like Coney Island. And you know, it's a Spider-Man game, so going through this world, you'll be swinging, jumping, and utilizing the new web wings to fly across the city. There's evolved movesets with 2 playable Spider-Men, either Peter with his symbiote abilities or Miles, who has explosive bioelectric venom powers, and you'll be battling iconic supervillains, including an original take on Venom, Kraven the Hunter, the Volatile Lizard, and more. And if you like collecting things, there's over 65 different suits for you to collect with customization options for each and every one. Now, I am quite out of the loop on this one as I've not played the prior games, but I have heard pretty much nothing but good things about them, and the gameplay overview videos that I've watched make it look very good. The reviews are very good, so yeah, kind of a no-brainer here to put on the list. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is coming to PC on January 30th. Next up, we have got Resistance, the latest game in the Sniper Elite franchise. Now, I am a bit of a sucker for these. I have played a vast majority of games in this series. Even when very little to the formula changes, I enjoy my time. As I've said before in other videos, Sniper Elite is one of my guilty pleasures, without a doubt. So what is coming in Sniper Elite Resistance? Well, the setting for this one is far from the front lines of the war. This time we'll be playing deep within the heart of occupied France. We'll be tracking down multiple high-priority targets while having access to different infiltration and extraction points, giving us a lot more freedom in how we approach every mission. Other than that, we're going in, we're sneaking around, doing stealth kills, taking out enemies from the shadows, laying traps, and of course, sniping from afar. The series' trademark X-ray vision is as ridiculous as ever. There's going to be multiple difficulty settings that let you decide exactly how hard you want the sniping in the game to be. Do you want to factor in every element of the shot for yourself, or just aim for the red diamond that the game puts there for you? It's totally up to you. You got customization for your weapons, equipment, and outfits. There are propaganda missions where you play as a French resistance fighter, as opposed to the series main character, which you'll play in the campaign. Now, during these scenarios, you'll sneak snipe and take down enemies to complete time-sensitive objectives and help end the Nazi occupation. Then they've got Axis invasion mode, where you can either invade another player's campaign as an Axis sniper, or you can open up your own campaign to other invasions where you fend off those invading players. It's a bit busted, but I always found it loads of fun. There's other multiplayer as well, like competitive 16-player sniping battles, as well as survival mode, where up to 3 players take on waves and waves of enemies. I like this series quite a lot. Looking forward to this one. Sniper Elite Resistance launches on January 30th. Okay, so those are our main games for the month. Now let's talk about some honorable mentions. Aloft. This is referred to as a, quote, feel-good, cozy survival game set in the clouds where you can transform any island into a flying ship and explore the vast skies. You'll navigate the world, discover new islands, gather resources, build your dream home, and take care of animals either solo or as a group of up to 8 players. But it's not all just cozy fun. There is this spreading corruption, and you are tasked with rooting out the fungal threat that's devouring everything in its path. You'll uncover lost knowledge, brew antidotes, and enrich the biodiversity of the islands as you attempt to restore balance to this airborne ecosystem. It's going to have many of the expected survival game mechanics to it, but delivered in a less punishing framing. You will be gathering resources to craft tools, cook food, explore, and find new tech. And then once you find an island that you like, you can build and customize it into your own personal home and into a ship with a helm, a rudder, and sails constructed. You'll then be able to sail the winds on your own island home ship thing. This one's got a pretty cool vibe to it. Aloft launches on January 15th. Star Wars Jedi Power Battles is the remake of the 2000 original game based on the Phantom Menace. Using the power of the Force and your trusty lightsaber, you'll fight to ward off legions of battle droids, destroyer droids, assassins, and other creatures from the Star Wars galaxy. You can play as one of quite a large roster of characters, including but not limited to Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Qui-Gon Jinn, Darth Maul, and many, many more. There's multiplayer with 2-player couch co-op for the entire 10-level campaign, as well as bonus mini-games that are available. And they've got both classic and modern control schemes. You can toggle your lightsaber colors, enter classic cheat codes like Big Head mode, and discover more surprises in this 25th anniversary celebration edition. Star Wars Jedi Power Battles launches on January 23rd. The Quinfall launches this month, although to be perfectly honest, my expectations for this game are very low, tipping over into the threshold of negative even, if my gut is any indication. Maybe I'll be surprised, but I'm very much so not counting on it. This is a new MMORPG and was dubbed the largest play space of any game in the genre ever, and everything that we have seen and heard about this game looks pretty darn bad. However, it is a new MMO. That is why it's on the list, because I will at least check it out, even if that just lasts a day before I give up. I want to give it a look. They're saying it's a real game. They're saying it's the biggest MMO of all time. The Quinfall launches on January 24th. Not holding my breath. I advise you not do the same. Eternal Strands. This is a third-person action-adventure game where you will fight epic towering creatures while blending magical abilities with an arsenal of powerful weapons to keep the world from crumbling. This is like a more vibrant, colorful Shadow of the Colossus. So we play as Bryn, a young, fearless weaver determined to recover her people's homeland. This is the debut game from Yellow Brick Games, a new independent studio founded by industry veterans. It's got interesting gameplay interactions. You got things like heat that spreads, cold that chills, and real-time destruction, allowing for unprecedented reactivity to the combat. You can hurl burning tree chunks at enemies with telekinetic powers, snap nearby trees to block opposing fire, or channel raw telekinetic force to rip boulders up from the ground. Similar to Shadow of the Colossus, the entire game centers around you tracking down, finding, and then climbing and fighting these gigantic enemies. Defeating them takes a mix of sword, spell, and mobility as you leap onto and climb their massive hulking forms, attacking from different angles and trying to find weak spots. This looks pretty darn neat. Eternal Strands will be launching on January 28th. And then lastly, we have got World of Warcraft's Battle Royale spinoff making a return this month. I'm talking about Plunder. It is finally back once again. If you happen to miss it the first time around, the game initially launched last year as a limited time event and was a lot of fun. I played it for a few weeks and really enjoyed it. It is quite literally World of Warcraft combat, but in a battle royale format with a unique crafted island pickups, which are basically spells that you can level up throughout a match and swap ones that you find. You kill players, they drop their spells, you can pick up the ones that you want. It's all trying to be the last one standing. I assume they've made some changes and updates from the last time it was available. Not exactly sure what they've done, but I'm looking forward to this because I really liked it, played it quite a bit the first time around. I like it enough to the point that I actually wish they would just like spin this off and release it as its own standalone title, like a World of Warcraft Battle Royale game, instead of as it currently is, tucked within the World of Warcraft client and requiring the monthly subscription. I think if they did like free-to-play, cosmetic style Battle Royale formula, a Plunder or whatever they called it could actually be really good. But as of now, this is the version we get, and I will be playing it. This is running from January 14th to February the 18th, so check it out if you haven't already. And with that, we will wrap up this month's list. Like I said, January, as always, it's a pretty slow month, but there are some games I think worth keeping an eye on here. Definitely a few of these that I want to play, in addition to continuing my adventures in Path of Exile 2, which going to release a couple more videos, I think, throughout the month. I suspected I would only be playing for like December, but it's clearly tipping over into January, and I'm really not planning on slowing up too much in the coming weeks either. I'm really enjoying that game. But yeah, besides that, I'm gonna check out Sniper Elite Resistance this month. I would love to look at Dynasty Warriors. I think the Hyperlight Breaker game looks good. Eternal Strands I probably want to play. I'll play Quinfall, although I'm expecting that to be bad. I'm gonna play Plunder. So yeah, I'm actually gonna be playing a lot of games besides PoE 2 this month. Go figure. And yeah, with that, we wrap up this month's video. Thank you as always for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See y'all next time. Take it easy.